My name is Tony. I'm here with Dave, David, and Connor. Dave Stevens, David Sterling, Connor Ennis, and I am Tony Pervenanzi. This is try number 2 because we already tried this and we got hacked big time by some
very big time
by some crazy people.
The level of profanity that was laced in a matter of a minute was impressive. Yeah,
that was a total. The kids need to go outside and play.
Yeah,
right.
Did not apparently racist assholes exist on Zoom meetings as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So we're gonna try this again. We are coming to you from our respective houses because we are doing the social distancing episode of this podcast. I'm in a basement. Dave, looks like you're in a kitchen.
I'm in my kitchen / living room / home office. Is what I said before.
Exactly. David is down in his basement kind of computer music area.
Yeah, it's my music room.
Yeah, music room. And Connor, where are you at?
I'm in my office right now.
Okay, gotcha. So we are still, of course, drinking Minnesota craft beers. David, what do you got?
So we'll try this again. It's the Voyager Brewing Company. It's a Brule River Blonde Ale. And I will say it's quite tasty.
Nice.
Nice, light, refreshing. Not terribly high alcohol. It's only 5%.
Ooh.
And God, I could probably go outside after this and drink a whole 6-pack of that.
That's one of those breweries that we'll probably never get to because they're in Grand Marais. So again, it's nice to try beers that we'll probably never get to in Minnesota. Connor, what you got?
I have the Liftbridge Farm Girl from Stillwater.
Oh, classic.
Yeah, it's. I haven't had this one in a long time. For those who don't know, it's an ale brewed with orange peel, and I like. And you all know I'm a big IPA guy usually, but this one's I like this one. It's got a little. The orange peel gives it a little bit of a kick.
Okay.
So,
Dave, what do you got?
I went with something from one of the breweries we were at just a few weeks ago. It's the Modest Dream Yard. I don't know if you can see that can. It's a cool looking can, but
good stuff.
I did not have that when we were there at the brewery, but thought I'd give it a go. It's really easy drinking. I've just had a couple sips, but it's a hazy, super juicy IPA, and just reading the can, like I said, I haven't tried it before, but it's malt bills and made of entirely of oats and wheat, and then it's hopped with Citra. So it's got a real smooth drinking flavor. It's a great summer drink, I'd say.
Nice.
Yeah, you're drinking.
Yeah,
I got the Lupulin Dortmunder,
nice.
which is a lager from Lupulin, which we've been to. I had, and it's good. It's a lager. It's just like any lager you have, except it's Minnesota made and tastes fantastic. Very refreshing. I had way too many beers last night because we had the ODB's meet and greet food truck came to our neighborhood. That's my dog. There's a dog barking in the background. Got it.
We did it.
And we just need a baby crying, and we'll have it all.
Exactly right. So I had the food truck come to our neighborhood yesterday, and basically Draco, what the heck, dude? Let's go.
That's the most I've heard your dog bark in 6 years.
Well, because he thinks somebody's here, but nobody's here.
Okay.
But she came out. My neighbor Brandon knows her. Went to high school with her. Graduated with her. 2 weeks ago, I made a comment like, "I love her food truck. We should have her come to the neighborhood because she's doing that now because she can't go to breweries right now." So he contacted her. She said, "Yep, I'll come out." She came out yesterday from 5 to 7. She sold. She had her biggest sales ever in neighborhood. In our neighborhood, we had a ton of people out there. It was fantastic, but we all still social distance. We were in people's yards, just hanging out. 6 feet, and we were outside, so it was a good time.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. Why wouldn't she be able to go to breweries?
Well, she can, but the problem is people aren't there all the time. People are just getting takeout.
Yeah.
So she does go to Hayes Public House down in Buffalo every weekend because they made a beer for her. So she goes down there all the time and hangs out. But other breweries are like, well, we don't have a lot of people coming in right now. So
Yeah.
I think as the weather gets nicer, you'll see food trucks go back to these breweries on Saturdays and Sundays.
You'd think even if they just park outside, maybe they won't get that many people, but it's something.
Yeah, but it's like, a lot of that food truck stuff, you want to eat it when you're there.
Right.
You don't want to like put it in your car and take it home. So,
Well,
it's kind of
I don't know. Maybe, I guess the food truck, that's a good point. Because places like Invictus, obviously they've been kind of promoting their takeaway. Was it the Tipsy Steer?
Oh yeah,
and so you can run up there, grab a pizza to go or whatever else they make, and grab a crowler or 2 or 3 for a nice Friday night or Tuesday night or any night for that matter. So I've been seeing that.
It brings up a really interesting point of how this whole thing has affected the brewing industry, because we're soccer fans and we're beer fans. Soccer is not happening right now, and breweries are open, but they're not open to full capacity.
Right.
So I've seen posts where they are dumping tanks because they can't sell all of it.
Wow.
So they're making it, but they can't sell it, so they're dumping tanks. So it'll be interesting to see when this all kind of starts to play out, when they start opening things back up, which breweries are going to be in good condition and which breweries are going to be in not so good condition. I think we might see some breweries closing down.
Yeah, we might. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was just going to say, sorry about that. I just want to say, it's hurting all breweries. At least, they're allowed to be open for to-go orders. And I just want to, I've enjoyed over the last few weekends, specifically going down to a few of the breweries, mostly local, like, Omni's close to me, but even taking a little short ride down to Minneapolis. Like last weekend, I went down to Inbound, and you just, they have a great setup. You can walk in there. You can actually most of them you can place the order online and then just go down and pick it up, and it's easy to do. And I didn't see a food truck at Inbound, but that would be kind of a great idea. And I did want to give a shout out, because most recently I went to 10K Brewing. I had to go up to my office, which is in Champlin. So 10K is right up there in Anoka across the river there. And I picked up a crowler or 2. And this one is I really wanted to drink it today. It's the cold press Wendigo.
Oh yeah.
See that? But I decided against that. It's an imperial stout, cold press. So right in my alley, but it's 10.4%, 10.6%.
Jeez.
It's gonna kick your ass, buddy.
Considering we got the rest of the afternoon ahead of us,
this is still morning. Oh no, it's afternoon now.
But, it's afternoon.
But have you guys had that opportunity to go down and pick up a crowler anywhere?
I have not, unfortunately. I didn't even know that. I've tried to go down to Wicked Wart, but I've only really walked past it. But now I kind of want to.
You should.
I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I hit up Dangerous Man once for crowlers. That's actually it. No, I think.
Yeah.
But bottom line is, like, it's great that we can do that. It's a small thing, but the fact is, the business is going to be hurt regardless. It helps, but it's just not the same.
And before we go, I want to mention they're also running out of growlers. The company that makes the growlers has had such an increase in demand that these breweries can't even get growlers anymore. So some of them are not even allowing you to buy growlers. You have to bring in old ones from them and get them cleaned out and do it. So you're running this whole thing of, if you could only do growlers and you didn't do crowlers, then you're kind of shit out of luck, So there's a lot of things, and they're trying to get through the legislator to let them sell, cans, not crowlers, but smaller cans in their store, 16 ounces, stuff like that. We'll see what happens. But it's crazy right now. While we're talking about breweries, let's talk about soccer for a bit, guys, because there are rumors abound, not only through soccer, but through all of the major sports, of how they're going to come back, when they're going to come back, what's it going to look like. Soccer, I think, is Sterling, is it June 8th?
MLS is.
MLS, yeah. So when they do come back, if they come back on June 8th, I don't think we'll have any fans in the stands. I highly doubt that.
I doubt
and I think that a lot of pro sports places are saying, well, we're going to only do it in a couple cities. So we're not going to have it United States wide, it's going to be in like 2 or 3 cities, and we're going to play numerous games in those stadiums, and that's that.
Right.
So
I know that LA has also announced a citywide ban of public events, not just athletic games, but concerts too. For those crowds drawing thousands of people, and they're banning those through 2021 right now.
Yeah, so we should say that MLS has announced that June 8th would be the earliest. They haven't said that they will resume on June 8th. I mean, I'd love to think that they could and would, but yeah, they've got a lot to figure out. And I mean, another thing is, at this point, do you think we're safe that, I know even just as early as a few weeks ago, we were kind of speculating, well, are we going to see a condensed schedule or a shortened schedule? Or are they going to, cram in all the games? I mean, in my opinion, I think we're looking at a shortened schedule, a shortened season. We're not going to see this.
Oh yeah, I don't see how it's not going to be shortened.
With the logistics involved would just
Now, if they're doing the thing where they're going to have a certain amount of teams in certain spots playing a number of games, you could see it where they could do almost a full schedule. I mean, the NHL's talking about finishing up their season with 3 different sites they're going to be at, and that's that.
Right.
So, I mean, you could see it, but it depends on how many games you're going to play in a day, how many guys are going to be there. I mean, are you going to force those players to come and play? Are they going to be able to say, well, I'm going to opt out? There's all kinds of different things. And you have to get buy-in from the players. The Players Association has to buy into all this.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of hurdles to jump over here in the next month or two. So
yep.
But we're still winning games though, because they're playing the FIFA online.
Right.
Yeah.
And I've seen some things. We're kicking some major ass in FIFA.
Yeah.
Play that much.
Now, when you say we, like I have not watched a lot of esports. Are we watching? Are they doing this weekly where they're having certain players, play?
Well, they're doing
they have
players, but they also have a league. We have we have an esports league in Minnesota called the Rockers.
I have seen that. And specifically with Madden, but I didn't know they were doing that, say, with MLS.
So they're doing that at MLS, and these guys are actually really good. So they've been doing it I think weekly. They've been playing the games that we're supposed to play, I think.
Yeah.
So they've been doing that, and they've just been lights out. They've been kicking some major butt. It's ridiculous.
I don't think they've lost one yet, have they?
No. I think they won a couple games 7-1. It's like
So just so everybody knows, I am totally taking random screenshots of us, and the expressions are hilarious.
Well, yeah.
What's even better is I can't take a screenshot of myself because when I talk, it doesn't put me up on the big screen. So, Tony, you can see yours. You look completely stoned out of your mind, and Dave, you're not.
Well,
Connor, you at least looked okay, actually.
Yeah.
Oh well, thank you.
I'm not surprised I look stoned because it's and then the hair. We should also talk about the hair thing because all of us, I think, are dealing with hair problems now with our growing so long.
For me, I have to say I got lucky. I cut my hair just before. I think I went to the salon 2 days before they closed the salons.
Yeah,
so I got
That's
lucky.
what I did too, but my hair grows back really fast, so it gets a little bit crazy.
It's actually not that bad.
Yeah.
See,
that helps it out.
I got sick of mine. I actually cut it myself.
I don't exactly have the thickest mane, so I don't have a whole lot of problems. It just gets kind of irritating because my hair will just get curlier and wavier and as I go, but I don't have a lot of hair, so I'm okay.
You guys have seen mine. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah, I spent about an hour in the bathroom last weekend cutting my own hair.
Shaving it off. You should have shaved it.
Well, have you ever tried to use a shaver on the back of your neck?
No.
In a mirror?
No.
That's how I took so long because it took me forever to situate the razor right without, slicing off half my hair. It was bad, but it actually turned out pretty good.
Nice.
Now, I just read, and in maybe a week or two, I might actually have to look into this, but I think I just saw a post or two there. There's these underground gyms happening
Yes.
and underground like barbers or underground haircutting. Now, I have not looked into it. I have not been to one, but give me a couple of weeks and I might have to.
I'm pretty sure my boss has done the underground barber thing because he gets his haircut like every 3 weeks, and I'm like going, your hair still looks the same. What's going on? Oh, it's it's whatever. I'm pretty sure he's going somewhere to get it done.
Yeah, that's what everybody tells me. I get my hair cut like maybe once every 5 weeks. I think that's so I'm right at that point now where I'd really like to get a haircut, but I think I got another week or two before I start going nuts. So we'll see.
Yeah. So everybody, we should talk a little bit about what we're doing now for work, because I think all of us are affected by it. Connor the most, because Connor, you were a event coordinator.
I was a catering manager over at a hotel in Bloomington, and I got laid off pretty quickly within the pandemic here. So I got home and started looking for jobs right away, and I actually got pretty lucky. I ended up getting a job as a courier for a delivery company.
Nice.
And that specializes in mostly medical supplies. So I've been doing that every day from like 7 to 5, and it pays surprisingly well. So I'm actually kind of happy with it right now. I mean, I'm not saying the pandemic's a bad thing at all, but the pandemic's a good thing. But
yeah.
So are you going to stick with it?
What's that?
Are you just going to stick with it then, or is your job just like furloughed more than laid off?
I think I'm going to stick with it. They did technically furlough me, but I don't think I'm going to go back because the situation I have at On Time is a bit of an upgrade from what I had before. So I think I'm going to
worked out for you then.
Yeah.
How
about you guys?
Well, David, I know you've been working from home pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I'm considered essential because I'm in med tech. So yeah, I could technically work from the office as of last week. They closed off completely. But yeah, I've been working from home since before the stay at homes even kicked in. So I've been, seeing a lot of my dining room table, a lot of my neighbor Brett's kitchen window.
Yeah.
It's been, I'm not a homebody at all. And even though I'm a bit introverted, I like to be around people. So it's been interesting, especially the last week. I've probably been getting a little fried.
Yeah.
I hear you.
And Dave, your company is considered essential as well.
It is, because our company is technically, at least the division of my company that I work for, we build original equipment for food and beverage manufacturers. Specifically, without getting into details, I spend a lot of time in milk and cheese plants. So obviously, food processing and production is considered essential, and therefore my company is as well. Not to say that my job hasn't been affected significantly. I travel probably typically 30 to 40, 50% of the time. And so obviously I haven't done any of that. I've been sitting basically at the same kitchen table. I started working from home March 18th. So it's been over a month now. And I was actually supposed to head up to Canada just a couple of days before that. Shortly after we recorded our last podcast.
I remember this. Yeah.
So my job, I mean, I'm fortunate to have a job. I've been actually quite busy working from home. It's just like kind of Sterling was talking about. I'm not used to, being, let alone being at working from home. I'm not used to being in the office for a month and a half at some time. So it's been a bit of adjustment, but I consider myself lucky. I've been staying busy and trying to make the most of the stay at home, work at home routine. I've kind of, got a little bit of a routine, but certain days are easier than others, if you know what I mean. So,
yeah, I mean,
this has been sitting at this kitchen table for a lot longer than I normally like to. I think I need to invest in a office chair for my home that I do not have.
You should. Yes. Get something good. I myself, I'm kind of I'm dueling kind of. I'm working in the office and then I'm working from home because my kids are in school. And my wife Kelly works night shift as a nurse. So I have to work from home certain days to teach the kids, because they're all at home doing the e-learning thing.
Right.
Our office, because we're in construction, electrical construction, we are essential. None of our projects have shut down. We're all still going gangbusters. They allowed all of our project managers to work from home, but they said all the people in the front office, including accounting, like myself, were essential to be in the office, which I found kind of interesting. But again, with everybody else out of the office, there's really only like 7 or 8 of us actually in there. And we all have offices. We're not like cubes. We have our own offices. So we're distanced anyways.
Yeah.
But I will be working from home certain days of the week now through the end of the school year because Governor Walz said kids aren't going back to school.
Right.
So yeah. And then comes summertime, and then interesting things happen because you got to talk about daycare. My 10-year-old doesn't need daycare, but my 8-year-old kind of does. So we were going to go through the elementary school for this adventure club thing. And I don't even know that's going to happen now because, are they going to allow that to open? We don't know. So it could be a really interesting thing through the summer and then into next fall. I mean, who knows how they're going to open schools up next fall? So I think we're all kind of dealing with things day to day. And but at least my company is going strong and you guys all are. And Connor, you found something that you could, do and potentially be better than what you were doing before, which is great. But there's a lot of people out there who aren't having the same luck that we're having in this whole pandemic thing. So shout out to all those people.
Yeah, I also want to shout out to everybody who is essential right now, like the grocery store workers, the gas station.
Oh yeah.
Right
yeah.
They've been going to work every day. And I think kind of been a little underappreciated. So shout out to all of them. Thank you for going to work and thank you for putting your health in line.
That's right.
Yeah. There are a lot of people that, like you said, are completely underappreciated. That, they're basically making the world go around right now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the first person to say this. In fact, a lot of people are saying this. I mean, I don't think I'll ever go to you say grocery store or even gas station. I won't look at those people the same way ever again. No. I mean, just so grateful, that they're just day after day, sticking through it and doing what they have to do to keep their businesses open. It's great.
That's right. Maybe the Karens will back off when they get in somebody's face at the grocery store, like we always see. So we really don't have a lot for this podcast. We just want to jump back on. Connor, do you have some history stuff we could talk about?
So I had a little bit of a mishap with that. And so I had my historical calendar on a different computer.
Oh.
And when I got let go from my job, my computer was taken back. So I tried to send the historical calendar through email to my personal computer, and something went wrong. I don't know what happened. But I no longer have the historical calendar, so I'm currently working on a new one. I should hopefully have it done fairly soon. Hopefully next show.
That's cool.
I do, however, have one question for any of you guys. It's kind of a soccer question. It's kind of to pick your brain a little bit. So, obviously, during this pandemic, we have a lot to think about, like what could have been with the Minnesota United season. We started off with a bang, and so I was really proud of our team. So here's my question to you guys. If there was one person from the team now that you had to drop for a person that we have dropped in the past, who would it be?
Wow.
Ooh.
Okay, so replacing a player from our current team with someone that we used to have.
Yes.
Wow.
Jeez.
That's not a big list.
No, it's not.
No.
I
mean,
it's a hard question. I actually don't have an answer myself.
Well, let's start like this. Is there anybody? I'm going to throw out a name. Francisco Calvo. Is there? That's because everybody loves that name. Is there anybody on the current roster you would drop for Calvo?
No.
I mean, maybe that's the way. No. Maybe that's the way we should do this. Let's throw out some names that we have dropped over the last 3 years and see if there's anybody you would replace with on the current roster. So that was the first one. So that's a quick no. That was
there was a time where I thought Francisco Calvo was our best center back, but now he is not even worth a spot on our team.
I remember it wasn't that long ago for me. It was early last year, I think, wasn't it, when they were up in Vancouver?
Yep.
Yeah, there was some moments where, I mean, I'm on record saying, "Oh, this is going to work out great. He's coming up the left. Here we go. He's got some help now." So it wasn't that long ago I was singing his praise.
I think he followed that comment up with his nice little on the toes. He was what did he do? He stopped short of the touchline or something like that and let the ball go past him.
Yeah.
And it went in for it ended up being a goal.
Is that a Vancouver
end line? Sorry, it was on the end line. The ball, he could have easily knocked it out for a corner, and he let it go, and then
he let it go.
In a goal.
Yeah. He was a piece of work.
All right. Well, anybody else got one?
How about Vito? I mean, would you? I would take
sample.
See, I would take Vito back.
We don't have enough.
All I can do is all you can do is compare Vito to Tyler Miller, and Tyler Miller had a great year last year with LAFC. There's not really a lot to compare it to with Minnesota, but Vito had a great year last year. That much is for sure. I'm not sure I would take him back over Tyler Miller though.
I mean, because you got to factor in the price that they would have to spend. Like most likely. Vito would have taken a designated player slot, in order to come back.
Let's take price out of the mix then.
Okay, but how about the DP slot?
Let's take that out of the mix too. Let's just go talent to talent. So let's go talent to talent. I think they're identical. On the same. They're identical people.
Yeah.
They are.
Would I take Vito back? Yes, because he had a connection with the fans that I think everybody enjoyed.
That is true.
And if you could take money in the DP slot of it, I think people would want him back in a heartbeat. I want him back in a heartbeat because I like the guy so much.
Right. I think he was a class player.
But do I think he's a better player than Miller? I don't know. He might not be.
Yeah, we don't have any.
We don't know yet. We don't know yet.
Miller. So
yeah.
Right.
I keep trying to think of someone I would cut to bring Jerome Tiasol back.
That was the name I was thinking.
I mean, honestly, I would cut anyone that's a bench player because why not have an extra left back?
But he would be replacing Metzanier right now, right? If he came back,
he would. But you think about who's behind Metzanier. There isn't anyone.
Really isn't.
I think you could say he could play left back or he could play right back, and I would say maybe cut, like Hairston or somebody to bring Jerry back. Yeah. Now I'm very biased because I really like Jerry, and I think that the entire fan base really like Jerry. So
another like Jerry. He's a Minnesota favorite.
Yeah, and in fact, on that note, I follow him very closely on Instagram, and just last week. I guess it's still this week, maybe Thursday or Wednesday, he had a story on Instagram where him and his wife and son went out for a walk, and they were all wearing Minnesota stuff.
Nice.
It wasn't necessarily Minnesota United, but it was Minnesota gear. Like,
where's he playing now?
He's in Switzerland.
In Switzerland, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's playing for, I think it's first division. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I would bring back Ibsen. No,
well, I mean, let's
one Brazilian player.
You're going to get rid of
nobody.
No,
I wouldn't even get rid of PK for Ibsen.
This is a tough question because we're sitting at, not a lot of people would say that. The roster of Minnesota United is weaker than it was a year ago or 2 years ago, or of course 3 years ago. So how do we feel about the forward position and depth? I mean, we had to, we lost, help me out here, in the expansion draft.
Abudu.
Tim Lottie. Yeah. He showed a lot of promise. He could be a heck of a striker going forward. We'll never know for our team, but
But you're not bringing. I mean, I don't think we're going to bring him back. I mean, I would never bring him back.
Well, of course, this is all hypothetical. So what you're saying is you feel comfortable with where we're at then?
I do. I think this team did some great things in the offseason, and we proved it in the first 2 games. You know, I think we were starting to become one of the premier teams in the league, not just the Western Conference, but in the whole league.
Yeah,
in those first 2 games, and then of course everything just shut itself down. So, you know, I want to go back. I always do this, guys. I want to go back to when baseball was cut short by the strike. The Montreal Expos were having a great season. You know, guys like Chuck Knobloch, Kirby Puckett were having great seasons. Cut short by the strike, and then Montreal, you know, ends up a couple years later moving to Washington, and Montreal loses his team. Chuck Knobloch gets the yips. Kirby Puckett, you know, goes on with the eye. I mean, all these things happen. So to see this team have 2 great games and then everything shut down, I'm really concerned about when they come back, how they're going to look, because history shows that when you come back from a big layaway, you're not the same as before, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to be interesting. Part of me looks at that type of argument and says, let's just cancel the season. I mean, but then the other part of me says that I think there are about half a dozen teams that would fold if we did skip the season.
We can't, because they don't have the money.
Yeah.
The money that we get from the ad revenue stuff helps out a lot. And a lot of these teams also, the revenue they get from the stadiums helps out a lot.
Right.
Unlike baseball, basketball, where they could play games without fans and still make a shit ton of money because of the ad revenue, MLS can't do that.
Right.
So even to get us back on TV is only kind of just a little bit of a lifeline saying, okay, we can get past this season and hopefully come back full bore next season.
Right.
You know, they're going to ask players to take a pay cut. It's going to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, I wonder. I know other sports. You know, when you're talking about like a force majeure type event like we're going through. I mean, they're that's been written into other sports contracts. You've already seen, like in Europe, I think that they're taking cuts. Some of those might be voluntary, but I would have to assume that if you dig deep into those contracts, that would be true for MLS. And so, like everybody else through this, the players want to get back to work. The front office, the stadium workers, everybody involved in the organizations need to get back to work. So
we need to get back to work. We need to get back to their podcast.
Yeah.
Right.
We need to have something to talk about.
I mean, seriously, if the season continues to not happen, we're going to have to do that radio show idea that I had. We're going to have to,
pretty much.
We're going to have to write out a radio show and just start make people listen to it.
Because there's not a
drama you were talking about.
Yeah.
There you go.
We could do it on Zoom, and I could get some costumes.
Well, I mean, we could, to keep us in work and keep our podcast revenue going, we could spend, a half hour, 45 minutes talking about some, strange news, I suppose.
Yeah.
Fun news.
Yeah.
There's other things we could do.
Well, we could maybe switch to Bundesliga because they're starting up.
Oh, really?
Wow.
That's what's the deal? I had not heard that.
I believe it's next week.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's empty stadiums, though, I think.
Yeah. But then we'd have to bring Johnny into the mix.
No.
We'd have to.
We could just kind of dangle it in front of him.
Oh, God.
Here's a dollar. Here's a dollar.
Imagine. Here you go.
I mean, we'll see how this goes. I mean, should we preview tonight's game? I believe it's postponed, but against Sporting KC at Children's Mercy Park.
Who are we even playing?
Yeah, it would be just give us ourselves a reference. It would be at Sporting in Kansas City tonight.
The 2 best teams in the West.
The 2 best teams in the league.
Yes,
yeah,
we'd have a chance. Even a draw, depending on how. Well, no, okay, yeah, they're the Sporting KC is technically in the first position because of goal differential.
Yeah.
I think it is
right.
Yeah,
but we scored more goals.
Yes, we have. Yeah.
I think we would go out and play a tough match and maybe score 1 or 2 goals.
I honestly,
1 or 2.
I honestly believe there'd be a ton of United fans there.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a game like this, if the season was still ongoing and we were both kind of in the same position, I think you'd see a huge fan base down there.
Yeah. Kansas City is what, like like 6 hours away.
Yeah, it's slightly more than Chicago. I mean, like it's slightly.
Yeah. We've done the drive before. It's not that bad.
And I'll say this. I mean, before Allianz Field opened up, I mean that I think I've been to 3 or 4 games at Sporting Kansas City, if you're counting a Gold Cup match. And I just fell in love with that stadium before, of course, Allianz opened up. It's a great venue. The only downside is it's a bit of a drive out of Kansas City, Mo, but it's just gorgeous.
It's a great area, and I mean, great stadium. The area, like I said, is not the best area, but I think we would have a lot of fans down there, and I think we could have that the team could have taken those fans and given them a win tonight. Mm-hmm. But we can only watch maybe the E-League tonight and see if that actually happens.
I'm sure they'll be broadcasting at probably like 6 or something tonight.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Again, we live in this weird time right now, and all we can do is speculate what's going to happen.
Yep.
And I just want to get back to breweries. I really do. I miss going to breweries so bad. I miss being out, and I miss, of course, I miss you guys all miss it. I miss being with you guys every other week, hanging at a brewery for a couple hours, chatting about soccer and other weird shit.
Yep.
I have to say I'm getting a little bored with my neighbors.
Yeah.
Because they're the only people I see.
I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
It's
it's tough, man.
Yeah.
But
my fiance is a huge extrovert, so it's kind of hit her hard a little bit, just not being able to be with friends. And she finally got to go see her best friend for the first time in like a month and a half last week. And she came back. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so happy." And so it's hopefully it won't be too much longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. Great to hear. Like, I will say, kind of on a similar line, I will say this, if we're going to go on a positive note, I actually went golfing for the first time this year on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
I took because Governor Tim Walz opened up the golf courses about a week ago now, I think. And I took advantage. I took a half day. I've been busy, like I said, but took a half day Thursday morning and got out and met up with a friend who I hadn't seen in over a month, obviously. And hit the links. We had separate carts, and there's a few other rules that they do to just reduce contact, I think, is the main goal. But golf is the ultimate social distancing sport. I mean, you have no problem maintaining space. So
yeah. So is it true that you can't put it in the cup?
That's true. Yeah. And actually, I love the new rules. Putting's so much easier because they have a raised cup. So it's essentially about the same size as a normal hole cup, whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't have to go in; it just has to hit it. So it's easier.
It's like a mulligan every single time.
I mean, I think I did at least 3 or 4 strokes better than I normally would have. So I like it. I could keep that rule going forward. The worst, for the golfers out there, the worst part of it was that for some reason they don't allow flags either. Like, because they have a raised cup, but they could have still had a flag, but they didn't have a flag.
Yeah.
So visually, it made it a little harder on the approach, more or less. But it was great. It was it felt so good to get out and just do, an activity, a sport, other than, getting out, going for a walk, which everybody should do, or going for a jog. But just to actually be out there doing a sport, a golf, something, something that I did like I normally would. So, great.
I think I would hate not having a flag, because even though I'll never get close to actually hitting my target, I always use it to aim it. So
that
would be weird.
And it was
really weird. Yeah.
Yep.
It was. But it was good.
I do have to say one thing, guys. I just cracked another beer, and this is Surly. It's called Garden Variety. It's a sour, right?
Oh.
And it's fantastic. But you know how much this 4-pack costs?
$20.
$20.
Wow.
Sorry, I saw it. I was like $19.99. So
yeah, that was ridiculous.
Is it worth it?
If you're a sour beer fan, it's worth it. Yeah. And I'm a Surly guy, so I mean,
yeah.
again.
It seems expensive. I mean, you can go and buy a 6-pack of Miller Lite for a quarter of that cost. But
but
if you look at it, if we were sitting in the brewery and you had a pint of that, I mean,
exactly right.
It's really not.
You're paying $5 a can, and guess what? That's what you pay at a brewery anyway. So
yeah, and that's what we're trying to kind of simulate here, anyways. We're like we were sitting together at the brewery having our podcast.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Do you guys want a funny news story?
Yes, just to make things feel normal.
You guys want it's about the pandemic.
Okay,
and it has to deal with Dr. Fauci.
Oh,
okay. Now he's everybody's favorite guy now, right? We're making bobbleheads. We're making beers. There's a beer named after him now.
Really?
Yeah, a craft beer company, I think in Kentucky or Tennessee, made a craft beer, Fauci craft beer.
Wow.
He's got a bobblehead. He's got cakes are being made, T-shirts. Everybody loves Fauci, right? But the funny thing is, and I don't know if you guys probably know this, but Fauci was the head guy when the AIDS epidemic happened.
Mm-hmm.
And he was given a lot of props for the AIDS thing, but it didn't hit the United States as hard as this is right now. So he's been kind of on the forefront, and everybody loves him. But he has said, government expert Dr. Anthony Fauci says the heart-sick isolationists can hook up with somebody asymptomatic Tinder matches in real life, but like in love, it involves some risk. So he's telling people that if you find somebody on Tinder and you're asymptomatic, you can hook up.
But how do you know if you're asymptomatic?
I don't know.
Well, no. I mean, that simply means you're not showing symptoms.
Yep. Cool. So here's towards the end. So like here he said toward the end of the tape segment, Fauci was asked, if you're swiping on a dating app like Tinder or Bumble or Grindr, and you match with someone you think is hot, and you're just kind of like, maybe it's fine if this is one stranger comes over, what do you say to that person? He says, that's tough, because that's what we call relative risk. They dropped the bombshell. If you're willing to take the risks, and everyone has their own tolerance for risks, you can figure out if you want to meet someone.
Well, that kind of makes sense, because I'm not going to go into any details, nor do I want to, but I want to say this. So I live alone, right? Yep. And I look at it like this, because I live alone and I'm practicing, the stay at home, guidance and social distancing. If, I look at that and saying my risk is kind of low, because if you have a family of 4 or more, and assuming, one or all of you of that family are going outside, are going to a grocery store, essential services, doesn't that risk kind of multiply, where there's not 4, in my household, there's just myself at the moment. So I go out, and yes, I could come into contact with the virus, but I come back, but at least I don't have 4 people in my household that could potentially make that risk. Right. So if I was going to use a dating app like that and decided to make that decision,
that's true.
And maybe it's another single person that is living alone and is obviously on a dating website for a reason, that wants to kind of meet up, and they live alone, and their social circle is as small as mine at this moment in the stay-at-home period. Isn't that risk kind of mitigated?
I feel now, if they're justifying something.
No, I'm not justifying anything.
No,
I'm talking
you are.
Purely hypothetical.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. Like I said, I don't want to get into details, but do you know what I mean?
Yes.
We know.
Well, exactly. Yeah. And Tony, you and I, we both have spouses that work in hospitals.
Yeah. So
I mean, our risk is way.
Hello. Yeah. I ain't gonna be going on Tinder anytime soon. I'll tell you that much.
Nor am I. Only
hopefully
because I don't want to do
for multiple reasons.
I don't like the video dating idea. So
well,
that's a little weird. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, Dr. Fauci comes out and says this, and says, "Yeah, you know what? It's a risk, but it's a small risk." So I'm thinking, after this is all said and done, he should do Loveline. Dr. Fauci should do Loveline, because now he's kind of the sex doctor.
He should just join Drew and
he should
Carolla, and that'd be a fantastic trio.
That'd be fantastic. The guy is he's like a national treasure right now.
And he's very he reminds me of someone that's very socially awkward.
Oh yeah.
Because I've always wondered, he used to be a doctor. Well, I mean, he is a doctor, but he used to be a practicing doctor, and he went into actually running the whatever the name of that institute is. And to me, that tells me that he's probably too awkward to have good bedside manners.
Yeah, probably.
So he went into something administrative, and he's very blunt. So that tells me he's got very terrible bedside manners.
Yeah.
So I bet that whole awkwardness and that bluntness would go really well, especially with guys like Carroll and Drew.
Oh yeah,
I mean, that would be fantastic. I'd pay money to watch that.
I will say this: I do believe that Fauci, after this is all said and done, will have some sort of radio show or talk show.
Yeah, because speaking of Fauci, I mean, like he's the head of that department, but I mean, he's also he's dealing with the government, so it's interesting. Like, where did he make these comments, Tony? Where did he make those comments?
That was some news show. Yeah, he was doing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you kind of feel or at least I feel like he's kind of restricted in what he can say and what he can do because of he's speaking next to the president every day, and so that policy that he's pushing is part of.
You mean, is that our president? You mean that big orange thing? That's our president?
I'm gonna do the guy doing the daily updates every day.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, the guy that's telling you to inject
yourself with bleach.
Yeah, that's not true, guys. He didn't say that.
He didn't.
If you look at the right wings, they say he didn't say that. He suggested it.
Yeah,
it was an idea.
And ultimately, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. He did say it sounds it was supposed to be sarcastic.
Yeah,
it did kind of sound sarcastic. I mean,
to me that doesn't even raise my eyebrow. I mean, haven't we gotten used to hearing him say things like that? And I'm not going to go out and get all mad about it because it's just, what else would you expect? It would be surprising if he didn't say something like that.
I just laugh about it. I just laugh because I'm like, it's just par for the course, man.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that headline and I was scrolling through Facebook and I saw it and I was just like, makes sense.
To be fair, I mean, I'm not saying I appreciate him saying things like that, but I'm personally not surprised. I don't think he should be saying things like that. For the record, unfortunately, it wasn't more than a few weeks ago somebody injected fish tank cleaner or drank fish tank cleaner and died.
I apparently missed that one.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hydroxyfolate, which they thought was the same as hydroxychloro or whatever it is.
Oh, right.
And they had it for the fish tank and they ate it and they got sick.
That's different.
Yeah. So I mean, I mean, I can sit here and say, I can laugh it off. I'm not worried about it. I'm not going to believe certain things, but I guess, I mean, not everybody can say that apparently, but
right.
I mean, it is what it is. The guy likes to talk. He likes to be in front of a crowd. He likes to get everybody excited about things. And, I just sit there and watch it and go, that's just pretty much who he is. So, and then you got Fauci and Birx on the other side rolling their eyes going, oh, God.
Right, yeah. You got two super intelligent people, and they're just like, oh, my God, we have to be on stage with this.
What do I have to backtrack on now?
Yeah.
I mean, the funny thing is with the injecting the cleaner and the UV lights, they showed a point of Birx sitting on the sidelines while he was saying it, and she's just going, oh, God, please don't. No. So, I mean, again, I get it. He's an idea guy. What can you do? But Fauci is the superstar of this whole circus right now, guys. I mean, he is the man. And I think that we should actually try to get him on this podcast to be the co-host of this podcast.
Well, at least a guest. I mean,
I was going to say co-host. 5 of us? Jeez.
Well, no, somebody's going to have to drop off.
Does he have a Twitter account? Maybe we can hit him up.
No, we could get him on I wonder if we could get him on the podcast after this is all said and done. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be funny.
That would be awesome. I did talk when ODB was here last night. I did talk to her a little bit about the podcast, and I said, hey, would you like to come on if you're not a big soccer fan? And she was kind of like, yeah, that'd be kind of cool, so we might be able to get ODB on.
Every time you say ODB, I keep thinking old dirty bastard, but I mean, I can't get that out of
It's
my
a wrestler,
head.
Jessica, whatever it is. Yeah, she's a wrestler. But I was talking to her. I'm like, yeah, come on the podcast. When things all clear up a little bit, maybe we should get you on the podcast. And she's like, yeah, I'd like to do that. If I'm at a brewery you guys are going to be at, be kind of cool. I said, let's do it,
Yeah, he does not have a Twitter page. There is, however, an Anthony Fauci fan club.
Of course there is.
Yep.
Gotta be like
him.
Millions of people fan club.
Yeah. It's called Fauci fan, if anybody's interested.
Fauci fan. Fans of Fauci. So is there anything else going on, guys? I mean,
well, should we give a little bit of an update on the Reynoso watch?
Is there an update?
Honestly, this was probably a really good situation because it delayed anyone's interest.
Couldn't our transfer window?
Here's something though. What about the fact that we have Emery on loan? What do you think this is doing to that? Because now his loan's going to be up at the end of the season, but they have 2 games, which in my opinion was enough. But it's like, do you think there's a clause within the loan contract that?
I think a lot of those loans, will get. A lot of these loans, I think, will get reworked.
Yeah,
because they're gonna have to.
There's got to be something in there about force majeure events.
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah.
You can't just say, okay, he's coming back. He played 2 games. Now he's going to come back to us. That doesn't work that way. We paid money. Did we not pay money for this?
Well,
yeah, it may not be that simple though. I think if there are clauses for act of God or force majeure, but it may be that it's more like the player. It's kind of more impacting the player where they would have to forfeit a sum of their contract dollars that they signed to. So as far as teams, that's an interesting take. Not necessarily. There's no guarantee. Oh, okay. Unless they rewrite that contract, a personal contract, player's contract to be extended, maybe could the team have an option to continue that loan? It's all, hey, we're in uncharted territory here, I guess.
We really are.
Yeah.
And also to, maybe make this podcast go down the tubes a bit. I'd like to comment that he actually lost his grandmother last week. And so that's got to be really weird because, not being able to fly home, just stuck here in isolation, basically.
Yeah.
So, it's another situation where we see our players are getting impacted in some way that,
Well, you look at all of our international players. They can't go anywhere. They're kind of where they're at. Yeah. And I've got to hear from family members in their native countries saying, hey, this is what's going on. And you can't be here right now because you can't get here. So, and for his grandmother to die, that must really suck. I feel bad for him. I really do.
Yeah. It's got to be pretty bad.
Yeah. But that's a downer.
Yeah.
It is a downer, but it's a valid point.
It's a valid point. Yeah.
And as when we start here in the United States, as we talk about, we're going to be optimistic. And let's say in the June timeframe, they can start thinking about ways to get, the games going again, whether it's in Arizona or no fans or whatever the deal is. I would love to say it's going to be flip the switch. We're back to normal. But a realist wouldn't say that, wouldn't agree to that. And so one of the things that are going to certainly would be affected by, a gradual reopening. That's the way I see it. Maybe certain areas will be flip the switch, but certainly not sporting events. That's not a flip the switch kind of thing.
Nope.
Travel. Yeah. Travel is going to be affected. So, if you're talking about making trips or multiple trips especially out of the country, that it's going to be very difficult. So I kind of brought that up as a little, barb, and unfortunately I think it's on the table. In fact, I just searched for the Reynoso watch on Twitter, and the last thing that came up was March 11th. So
March 11th. Yeah. Nobody's talking about it right now.
Yeah.
But
nobody knows what's going on.
We got a solid squad. I think to go back and rehash what we talked about, over a month ago now. We got, Molino's going to step up, and our midfield could be solid.
Mm-hmm. I just hope that nobody's being stuck at home and just eating a lot of food. I don't want to see somebody come back super fat.
Right.
know?
Yeah.
Right.
But now beer, though.
Well, that's a problem.
I mean, you saw I may have had a couple
Well,
a day.
Hey, let's bring it. I was going to bring this up to you, Sterling. They did a little poll. 46% of people working at home are drinking while they're working. 46%.
It's definitely a way to get through the day.
Well, do what you got to do.
And in my opinion, it's
what are they drinking?
If you're drinking at lunch, okay. I mean, who doesn't have a beer for lunch, right? But
aliens do.
If you're drinking at breakfast, outside of a Guinness
or a Bloody Mary,
mm-hmm. I think you might have to consider help.
Yeah, potentially.
Yeah. But
that's a good segue. I should say I have cracked my second pint of the day. It's the Banshee Cutter.
Oh, I love that.
That's a good beer.
Oh, from Insight.
From Insight, yeah, which I did have at our last recorded podcast. So I did want to give a shout out to Insight where we recorded last, and that is, what do you say about that? Like a Banshee Cutter, and just for people who don't know, that's just a golden ale basically with coffee added. Mm-hmm. So it's got, and it's not overwhelming. Like if you didn't like coffee, I'd say you could still try it and you'd probably like it because it's not overwhelming with that coffee flavor. But that would be if you're working from home,
that's a morning beer.
Your laptop.
Yeah,
maybe you have one of those just to kind of get things flowing. But I will say I haven't started that yet. But I don't know. Give me another few weeks of working at home, and I might have to.
I would add to that if you want a different beer that's a little bit more coffee.
Yeah.
Omni Daily Dose.
Oh, and I have tried that, and I do like that.
That's hefty coffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Similar to the Banshee.
Speaking of beers, guys, there is a guy now he started his own Minnesota craft beer podcast. So I will have to show you guys his page, and I think he'd be a great guy to get on the podcast.
Yeah.
At a brewery at some point, because he started a podcast all about Minnesota craft beers, based off of the Growler magazine, which is a Minnesota craft beer magazine. So it's a Growler-based podcast. And he's doing a podcast every week about Minnesota craft beers. And I'm like, right in a warehouse. Hello, craft beers, soccer. Get this guy on. So was Insight the last place we did an actual podcast?
It was.
It was.
Yeah.
And I feel like we even talked about how we may not do something again.
Oh yeah,
you're already aware of what was going on.
Oh yeah, I think we all were.
I've thought back about that. I mean, because it seems like a lifetime ago. I mean, what was the exact date? I don't have it in front of me, but it seems like a lifetime ago. And I knew I had my trip, and I don't think I had considered to Canada. And I think Connor too. I think I was expecting to miss the next podcast.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
But not for this reason. I still, in my mind, I did not think that I'd miss it for this reason.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Because Tony and I were trying to figure out how we were going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember
also that last podcast, Tony was saying about how we were surprised we even had to talk about the coronavirus too. And now here we are too.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, because keywords and buzz phrases like social distancing that hadn't come out yet. I mean, but at the same time, I remember clearly thinking to myself, and, not that I wouldn't in a public space anyways, but, I think, or maybe it had come out because I just remember being extra conscious about washing my hands, about sanitizing, about, maybe it had come out, social distancing, but.
I think at that point, the podcast it had hit a couple, we only had 70 or 100 known cases in the United States. So
very low.
I don't think a lot of people were worried about it at that point. I think all of us were kind of going, okay, it's something that's kind of like when Ebola, they had a couple of Ebola cases in Texas. We're like, oh, it's going to happen. We're going to figure it out. I don't think any of us realized that it was going to just balloon into this whole nationwide thing.
Right.
Yep.
Which, speaking of which, how have people been about washing their hands? Now, I've always been one of those people, I have a thing of sanitizer in my center console. I mean, literally every time I go to the gas station or the grocery store or wherever, I put hand sanitizer on. I mean, but has anybody found themselves washing hands way more than they need to?
No, I think I wash my hands more often after I do certain things. Come home from the gas station, it's like, yeah, wash your hands. I will tell you guys, I'm driving more than you guys, probably, except for Connor. I'm driving more than you guys are. Me and Connor are, and I have orange gloves that Kelly bought a month ago, and I will wear a pair of those when I'm pumping gas and throw them away right away. But other than that, you go to a store like Quick Trip, you leave there, you put the hand sanitizer on, you wash your hands afterwards. At work, I am constantly washing my hands at work when I go into the lunchroom to get water or anything like that, because I don't know what's going on. Funny thing is, we have our front desk lady at work. She really has nothing to do. She's a receptionist. So she's been like the headliner cleaning lady. So she's got the bleach and water thing, and she's constantly going around spraying that shit everywhere. Our office smells like a pool.
Right.
I'm telling you guys, it's ridiculous. She goes overboard. And the crazy thing about it is she's gone so nuts with it. She sprayed some of the glass in the front and has etched the glass because of the bleach.
Oh, wow.
And has sprayed like the printers and the fax machines, and the numbers have all run on it, and everything's getting all crappy on it. And people are like, you got to stop this. You just got to knock it off, but she's all concerned about it. It's like, just wash your hands,
Yeah. I guess I'll say this, like for me, not a whole lot has changed because like I mentioned, I work in the food and dairy industry. And so I'm used to walking into, say whether it's a cheese factory or a milk production factory. Believe me, the things you have to do there had always and always will be very, very sanitary. Mm-hmm. You've got, in addition to washing your hands, you have to put on PPE and hairnets and all sorts of stuff. So I've always been used to that. Every time you walk in and out of a clean area, you got to wash your hands. So it's nothing new for me. The only thing that has kind of changed, because I've always been conscious in a public place, always washing my hands when I'm leaving or going into a bathroom. But the one thing that has changed for me is if I do go out for, say, any reason, if I go outside for any reason, like whether it's to go to the grocery store or whatever it might be, is I just make I'm more careful to wash my hands before I really do anything. Coming back into my own house. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the only thing that it changed. Like, 2 months ago, if I went to Cub Foods or wherever, came back to my house, I wouldn't think, I got to wash my hands before I, do this. Or I think that's the only thing that's really changed is I'm more conscious now of coming back into my own house and washing my hands.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have done that before.
Yeah, Connor, you're doing courier stuff. So
and a lot of these deliveries are to hospitals too. So I'm going into hospitals a lot. I do find myself using hand sanitizer in my car a lot more often.
Yeah.
Laura shoved a bunch of bottles of that into my car, so I have no shortage of it. And I've got a mask that I have on every time I do a delivery. I've got my gloves, and I have to be screened every time I enter a hospital.
Yep.
So it's
like a temperature screen or what kind of screen?
Yeah, so I do a few deliveries for the American Red Cross, and every time I go there, I have to put a thermometer in my mouth for a minute.
Yep. That's not surprising. Kelly's hospital, she works at Maple Grove. They have shut down their main entry. You can only come through the ER/urgent care, and it's all like boxed off with plastic and stuff. So you get screened as soon as you come in there.
Yeah.
And all the nurses go through the back entrance now, and they're very diligent about making sure nobody, brings anything in, So I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I understand they're doing what needs to be done. It does get a little annoying when you've done it 5 times a day, but yeah.
But Connor, you're kind of a frontline worker now.
Yeah. I suppose you could say that.
You are.
Yeah,
you're delivering medical supplies.
Yeah, and like specimens and stuff like that too. And I've got like a cooler, and it's I'm driving like 300, 400 miles a day. It's ridiculous. Like yesterday, I had to go up to Pine City twice.
What's in Pine City that you need to deliver up there?
People that need specimens delivered to Wyoming, apparently.
Oh shoot, man! I wish I'd known you were going to Pine City. They have a brewery up there.
Oh, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And what
next time you go to Pine City, go to brewery. I don't know the name. I don't know the name of it. I've seen it. I have a friend who's into it. I forgot the name of it, but next time you go to Pine City, Connor, get some beer from up there.
I will do that.
You should be using all this time, Connor, when you travel around the metro area to get more beer.
I should. I collect stickers from breweries too, and so like I'd never been to Pine City before Friday, so I next time I'm up there, I'll do that.
Yeah,
because sometimes they send me on those long trips to like I've been to St. Cloud a few times. I've been down to Waseca. They sent me to Osseo, Wisconsin one time, and Baldwin, Wisconsin. It's a lot of driving every day.
Well, shit, if you're going to St. Cloud, stop by Otsego, grab a beer from my refrigerator out in the garage, and then go on your way.
There you go. I drive by Otsego a lot, actually.
There you go, man. Stop on in.
Yeah. Beer
fridge is always open.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I do have another question for you guys, a soccer question. Yeah. So Extra Time Radio from MLSsoccer.com or MLS.com. Is doing their Mount Rushmores right now.
Oh, yeah.
And they have not gotten to Minnesota yet.
Oh. I wonder why.
Yeah. And so I was wondering who would go up on Mount Rushmore. And
just a quick recap, Connor. So, I mean, I saw, I think, exactly one Twitter reply about this. I haven't looked into it, but it's basically asking fans who would go on the Mount Rushmore, essentially what, four
players, no coaches, no execs or anything like that, and it would be MLS era specific. So our options are a little limited if you do that, but
options are limited, which is actually good and bad,
right?
Because really, you have to put. I think you guys all agree with me. You got to put Darwin on there.
Yep,
you have to.
Yep.
So let's do one each then. So Tony, is that your
Darwin's my
player?
Darwin's got to be my one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then I'm going to throw an easy one. Christian Ramirez, because he was, he transitioned from NASL and into MLS, scored the first goal for the team, and was obviously a huge fan favorite. So.
Yep. Connor, what do you got?
I'm gonna go with Miguel Ibarra. Again, makes the NASL change to Minnesota United in the MLS, and scores a few goals. Didn't score a lot of goals for us, but he's still a fan favorite. And you can't really have Christian Ramirez up there without Miguel Ibarra, in my opinion, with Batman and Superman team.
Of course,
Miguel Ibarra.
Sterling.
We left the hard one for you.
I want to hear what Sterling's going to say because I know it's going to be nuts.
Is it Robin Lod? I wonder if it's Robin Lod.
It's going to be Lod.
That was my second choice. That was my second choice because I'm No, I'm kidding. My second choice would have been Craigish or something.
Oh, shit.
You almost have to say a guy you don't like.
Vito Minone.
Oh, okay.
That's fair. I mean,
and the only reason I say that is because he was the first award winner for Minnesota.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, and that's fair because I think on that Rushmore, if we're going to do it right now with 3 years and change under the MLS belt, so to speak, I mean, you got to have somebody that represents the success that Minnesota United had in 2019.
And I disagree with two players that were listed. So,
what? Who do you disagree with?
I mean,
do you really?
I know you.
One, Miguel Ibarra, and two, Darwin Quintero.
Uh-oh.
Oh, we lost Connor. Literally, like right when I disagreed with him.
Actually, I think,
mad.
Really, I mean, I knew you were going to say Miguel Ibarra. He shouldn't be on there. I knew that, but I think Darwin Quintero is actually a very, very good choice because I think he needs to be on there because he was.
He has to be.
He was.
I'd pick Gibson over Darwin.
Really,
Darwin's got to be on there.
Darwin was that spark. I think he was the transition for
he
Minnesota.
He was the first international superstar we had.
Right. The first DP, he really was like he was involved in the improvement. You know, he was there when they kind of weren't so good. He was a spark, actually, Darwin was, to come.
For me, I think the only thing that justifies it is the fact that he was the first DP. But otherwise, I've never liked Darwin.
I know you haven't.
You know, I've always been critical of him, but
they hated the guy. I know. What are you going to put on there? Calvo? You going to put Calvo in there? Calvo?
No, actually, you want to know who I would have put in
go ahead.
Billy Barr?
Go ahead.
I would have put Demidov. No. Hear me out. So, if I look at Mount Rushmore, I look at the four faces on Mount Rushmore,
I'm looking at that right now.
Teddy Roosevelt is the dumbest choice on Mount Rushmore. But he makes sense to be on there because he kind of opened up the national park system and he created all of that. It makes sense. But personally, I think it's a dumb choice. And I'm not going to get into the politics of that. But when I look at Minnesota United, I say, well, Demidov was our very first captain. I mean, whether we agree that he should have ever been a captain is out here.
He's like our George Washington.
He's kind of like our George Washington. Now, he's nothing comparative to George Washington, but it's still one of those things where he was the first. So it's kind of like the Darwin Quintero argument. He was the first DP, so that makes sense. To me, I say, look, Demidov did not work out at all. And he was probably the reason why we allowed 18 goals in the first 3 games. But it's still one of those situations where I say, you know what? He was the first captain, whether we agree with that or not. He has a piece of Minnesota history. I would have put him on there. Not that I think he belongs on there beyond that, but
I think he was making him captain was a huge mistake.
I don't even understand.
I don't get why he was in the first place, but whatever. But I get what you're saying, Sterling. I do understand that. I mean, Mount Rushmore doesn't have to be guys who are, fan favorites or guys who did great things. It's guys who moved your team forward.
Yeah, I mean, if you think of it politically speaking, again, I'm going to avoid this too much, but half the country probably hates Abraham Lincoln, right? Or, today, like 25%. At that time, probably close to half. Because, because of what he represents. But he's still up there, right? Even I can think of reasons to not like Abraham Lincoln. But the point is, they don't have to be people you like. And even if you think of Jefferson and Washington, we can think of a lot of reasons why they were bad individuals, depending on how you want to look at the past, right? So just because they're up there doesn't mean that they have to be loved by everyone.
They move the country forward,
right? I mean,
yeah. And Teddy was thrown in there.
Ultimately, Demidov, though he only played 3 games, right? He was ultimately, or 3.5 games. He was ultimately, part of that. He was the first. He was the very first.
So Demidov's like the Teddy Roosevelt.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, unless of course you like Teddy Roosevelt.
He was a nice guy. I've seen documentaries about him.
Actually, he was a jackass. He was really mean. Remember the carry the big speak softly, carry big stick?
He was a big stick carrier.
He
got things done.
He was kind of an asshole.
I think personally FDR should be up there, but what do I know?
Oof. Okay. That's gonna
on the Minnesota United Mount Rushmore. We'll see the connection, but okay.
Sterling and I are going to go into a political battle right now. Do it. No, we're not. Keep that away from soccer and beer.
FDR needs a mustache right here.
No, come on.
See, exactly. See?
Let's not go there.
Anyway, see, social distancing is ruining everything. We've slowly gone down a road.
It's ruining the Loonacy podcast. What are we
gonna? Whoa, Tony, you switched to glass.
No, I've had a glass.
Oh, you have? Have I been doing that the entire time?
See, I like beer from here.
Hey,
nice.
I like beer from here. That's a Instagram. There's an Instagram account from Minnesota that's, I think, called I Like Beer From Here.
And I have a T-shirt that says the same thing. So I did switch up beers, my third beer of the day, to Little Prize.
Oh, that's a good one.
Mass Hysteria.
And that's that's obviously we recorded there. I've recorded there once. You guys have done twice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was
a little hazy IPA.
Episode.
Yeah. It was that great place is great. Feather Bowling. Yep, it's a good place.
How about this? Like, here's a quick hitter. Like, a brewery we haven't hit on our podcast that we want to hit.
Ooh, are we keeping it to like northwest, northeast?
No, let's keep it to metro area. So you could be Minneapolis,
you know what?
Paul.
No, I'd say anywhere in Minnesota.
Anywhere,
okay. Anywhere Minnesota.
Anywhere Minnesota.
Gee.
Okay.
Because there's some great breweries we're never going to be able to hit.
Have you guys ever been to Mankato Brewing?
Nope.
That one's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
That's kind of a nice little, like, almost. Who would I compare it to? Unmapped. Have you ever been to Unmapped?
I haven't been there. No. I've heard of it.
It's kind of like that. Okay. It's kind of a little bit more. It's a smaller feeling, but they've got really good beers down there. I've only been there once, but they had some really good IPAs, and they got games. They got that. It's always a popular spot in Mankato. That's nice. That I think would be a cool one.
Yeah. I want to say, okay, I've been to 3 breweries in Rochester because I had to go down for work. In the times I went down there, I stopped at breweries on the way back. So there's some great Forager, Kenny Creek, great breweries down there. But the one brewery I've always wanted to go to is Castle Danger.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's the one brewery I want to go to. And that's the type of place where I think potentially you might be able to go there in a year or two.
Do a podcast up here anymore.
Do a podcast up in Duluth, do something up there. We do something like that.
Ben Paddle would be cool. Ben
Paddle is
I love
great.
Ben Paddle.
Yeah, it's great too.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Castle Danger, their cream ale is going to be the first beer that I have in my tap.
That's right. We've been talking about that forever, though.
It's going to happen one of these days. But, Dave, do you have one? Because I'm trying to think.
Yeah. Okay. It's a loaded question. It's one of those. We've had a few of these questions today on the podcast where it's like, oh my God, it just hits you and it's hard to think about. But I guess I'm going to keep it a little more local and go with maybe one of the Minneapolis breweries that we haven't been to that I've always liked. And I just want to paint the picture. I could see us doing it on their patio in the middle of summer, say August. I'm going to go with Bauhaus.
Oh yeah.
Because we haven't recorded there. It's a prominent Minneapolis brewery that's been around for a while now, and I can just see their patio right now in the middle of summer. We sitting on a bench top table recording. That sounds beautiful to me.
Yeah,
I've only been to Bauhaus in the winter. I've never been on their patio.
Oh, it's fantastic.
I've never actually been there in the winter. I mean, in the summer, it's a marvelous place to be.
It's great. Bauhaus and 612 are kind of in this combo of places I would love us to get to. The issue with Bauhaus especially is they've gotten so large. They were one of the first breweries there.
Yep.
Getting to them is kind of like going through a bunch of hoops. 612 is the same way, going through a bunch of hoops. And we're going to get there. I was planning this summer to get to Bauhaus and 612. I wanted us to get there. That's not going to happen now. It might at the end of the summer, but we'll get there. We're going to get there.
So can I do 2?
Sure.
Yeah, you can do 2.
Because I can't decide it. So one would be Dangerous Man.
Yes.
And I still want to give them the benefit of the doubt that they haven't been ghosting us.
Well.
And 2 would be Twin Whiskers.
Oh yeah, Twin Whiskers. Yeah, they're good. They have great beers there.
Yeah, they do.
I had them in the can. Good stuff.
Yeah.
In St. Paul. Yeah, Tony, didn't we made it there, I think.
Mm-hmm. We did. There is, again, we have a lot of breweries in St. Paul we haven't been to yet.
Yeah.
Tin Whiskers is one of them. Trying to think of the breweries. Lake Monster. There's a brewery out of the old Pabst or Schmidt's brewery.
Yeah.
I think it's called St. Paul. I think it's called St. Paul Brewing now. They're in their old brewery doing craft beer. I want to get there because it's old. There's a lot of stuff in St. Paul we still have to get to.
Right.
Shell
would be nice.
Shell in down in New Ulm.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Oh, okay.
Well, now hold on a second. We almost would have. We kind of talked about this with Johnny's wedding. Again, Johnny and Jenny were supposed to get married in May at Labor Day.
And it's gonna happen next year now.
Next year, yeah. But so we had talked kind of back and forth about, hey, we could probably do a podcast down there. Maybe do Shells, maybe do somewhere else down there. So yeah, we definitely will have to do that. Maybe next year at Johnny's, not technically wedding because he's married already,
right? Yeah.
But his celebration of marriage. What do you call it? What are we calling this now? Are we calling it?
I'm going to call it his wedding. I'm just going to call it his wedding. It makes it easier, but
well, we still have to wear the suits that we're buying.
That was my question. I mean, if we, because of this COVID situation, each put on 15 pounds,
they'll do it for free. They'll do it for free.
We should be able to get refitted.
No, they will. They will do it for free. They said so.
Okay. And then we don't need to go into details, but it's like, are we going to have to buy these now or later next year?
Reminds me, I got to call the New Ulm Holiday Inn and cancel my room.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because I'd already done it, So, yeah, Shells, Sterling, definitely we're going to do that. Yeah. I think Duluth, we want to do that. There's some, I'll say, there's a brewery I've been talking about to you guys for a couple of months now at Loon Brewing, something Loon up in Forest Lake. We got to get to. Something Loon. Uncommon Loon.
Is that what it is?
I think it's Uncommon.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Because I know there's a distillery called Loon Juice
Loon Juice, yeah. But Uncommon Loon.
It looks like it's in Chisago City.
Yeah, we should get up there for a podcast at some point. Because it's got Loon in the name. It sounds, cool.
Yeah.
But no, we have so many other breweries we need to get to. I mean, we've only tapped the surface. I mean, I remember when we read off the names all the breweries have been to at our 50th podcast. And like, that's a shitload of breweries you've been to.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah. I mean, it took me 10 minutes to read them all off.
But think about it. That's only the tip of the iceberg in breweries in Minnesota. I mean, we're not even talking about it. We cut ourselves off. We cut ourselves off from Minneapolis all the way up northwest.
Yeah.
I mean, there's St. Paul, there's southern spot, there's places in Lakeville, Burnsville, Scott County, and there's places everywhere.
Well, and there's even places like, Boom Island that's still in Metro.
Now in Minnetonka. And again, they're close now. They're in Minnetonka. We should get out there. I mean, we got a ton. And again, guys, I'm just itching right now to get back into the whole being at a brewery live in front of you guys doing this, because social media, this type of Zoom thing, that's great, but doing it live is 100 times better.
Apparently, it's not that good to allow other people to join you.
Well, you probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, big mistake. Yeah, so we should probably apologize for that.
I wonder what would give you that idea.
I mean, I've been trying to figure out if we should apologize because there were a few bad words.
There were.
Yeah, there were.
I want to apologize for I think it's a shame. I think this would have been fun for, anybody who wanted to join us. Right. I just never in my wildest imagination expected us to do a podcast about soccer and there's no games to talk about. So who would want to join? I just didn't see. And people were joining, and I thought that was fun, and I was getting really excited, and that happened just a minute or two.
Yeah.
And then they tried to...
Somebody had like a robot voice or something.
Yeah, they're saying David, stop playing Modern Warfare. I'm like, what does this mean?
It was a lot worse than that, and
I heard
that. I apologize too. So for our listeners that heard that, it was unbelievable. Sorry.
I think that the next time we do this, we invite people who we know who've been on the podcast before,
or maybe I'd like, because assuming we can't be out in a local brewery in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever we decide, and if we do this again, maybe we just kind of set it up beforehand. Hey, if you want to join us, send us a DM and
exactly
back to you and give you the details. So
Yep.
I guess that's all we got, guys.
Yeah, that's right. It.
Before we go, I want to make a couple of points here, guys. This is a bad situation, and we're all going through it. And again, I want to, what Connor said, thank the frontline workers for what they're doing. If anybody listening to our podcast or fans who are frontline workers, work at hospitals, clinics, whatever, work at the Cub Foods, the Rainbow Foods, whatever, thank you guys. We do appreciate it. And it's a tough time. We're all going to get through it. We're all kind of just going day by day and dealing with what's in front of us. But there is a small light at the end of the tunnel, I think. I believe. You have to believe that. And we'll get there. We will totally get there. And anybody else want to say anything?
I think you pretty much covered it all. Thank you to everyone out there, all the essential workers that are putting their health on the line every day.
Cheers to you guys.
Yeah, cheers to everybody around here. I do want to say thanks to our sponsor, Roughneck Scarves, official scarf supplier to MLS, USL, and US Soccer. Get custom scarves for your group or team at roughneckscarves.com. Are you tired of the same old uniforms and cookie-cutter templates from Nike and Adidas? Looking for a unique, completely custom kit for your youth club, Sunday League squad, adult, or even pro team? Icarus FC can help you create the kit of your dreams at an affordable price. Let them help you design your new custom kit today at IcarusFC.com. For myself, Tony Pervenanzi, for David Sterling, Dave Stevens, Connor Ennis, we will talk to you guys maybe in 2 weeks.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
We'll see what happens.
See what happens.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right.